Hey guys, kind of fighting through Corona-chan right now, but it's not. It still sucks, but like I wanted to get at least something out today, and since it is the anniversary year of A New Hope, the start of Star Wars, it just so happens I have a Star Wars comic review for you all. Yeah, this is Star Wars War of the Bounty Hunters. This was the second big Star Wars event in the Marvel Comics. The first big one was, of course, Vader Down. And then came the Screaming Citadel, which was like a mini event. This is the big, like, we're crossing all the titles. We're crossing Darth Vader and the main Star Wars title, and Dr. Aphra and Bounty Hunters. And yeah, this should have. War of the Bounty Hunters really should have been called Boba Fett Fights Everybody, because there's not so much a war of bounty hunters. It's more like Boba Fett gets inconvenienced by bounty hunters. That's really what it is, because this is a Boba Fett book. This is really just a Boba Fett book, and that's all it is. And this was coming out, I think this actually came out, I think a year, right before Book of Boba Fett, but it was coming out the same year of Mandalorian Season 2, which did have Boba Fett. So, yeah. Anyway, so this story is set during the timeline between Empire and Return of the Jedi, and Boba is on his way to back to Tatooine to give Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt. Unfortunately, things go sideways, and through a means of comedic timing, not so comedic timing, Boba loses Han to the Crimson Dawn. If that name doesn't sound familiar, it's probably because it's probably from the most forgettable Star Wars movie ever, Han Solo. Yep, we're bringing in the characters from Han Solo into this timeline with Kira, Han's first love, leading it and planning some big thing with the Knights of Ren, which is currently going on in Crimson Reign. This is the next big event. This must be the start of a trilogy of events. And I imagine at the end of these events, it will be like, I don't know. I imagine like these events will be that will be the end of this Star Wars line. I don't know, because you can only go so far, right? Because the first series dealt with, like, the first era was like between New Hope and Empire, and now they're still doing comics between Empire and Jedi. But yeah, so Boba has to fight his way through several other notable bounty hunters, but that's not really the comic. The comic really is about the return of Crimson Dawn and ensnaring everyone in the galaxy into their big, like, anarchist plot. Like, that's the whole idea. It's kind of like they basically want to beat the Empire, but also, like, want to bring darkness back because they're working with the Knights of Ren. I don't get it. Like, I don't get what the plot is. Like, maybe, again, Crimson Reign hasn't come out in trade yet, and it's kind of just like, alright, I don't know what's going on, but this kind of feels like Kira wants to be good, but also wants to be a villain. I don't get it. Again, maybe they'll explain it better in Crimson Reign when I finally read that. Boba is just our main character. He's more or less battling everybody in here, and I guess this is the closest Charles Soule, because he is the writer here. I forgot to mention it's Charles Soule, who has done several Star Wars books. He did the second Darth Vader comic, which was set after Revenge of the Sith, and then did Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. Sorry. So he has done Star Wars stuff before. This is a fun comic. It's got a lot of action. It's very clear Charles Soule wanted to do a Boba Fett book, but he just couldn't be like, all right, I'll just focus on Boba Fett and pull all these other strings while I'm at it, because this feels for like 5 issues, 6 if you count the prologue issue with Boba losing Han in the first place. It really does feel like he's trying to do like 10 things at once. Because let me break this down for you. You have Boba trying to get Han. You have the return of Crimson Dawn led by Lady Kira, who is now leader of the Crimson Dawn, working with the Knights of Ren, and also has training from Darth Maul. She's not Force sensitive, she just knows how to use a weapon. You have Lando, Leia, and Chewie trying to save Han, and you have the Hutts infighting while Jabba is trying to keep peace between the Hutt Council and the Empire. Everybody got that? Yep. Oh, fuck, this hurts. Fuck. Sorry. Trying to battle the Rona. It's difficult. Anyway. There is some good writing here, but I think the artwork really just takes away. The artwork feels a little too like cartoony. It like the prologue issue is done by Steve McNiven, who does a fantastic work. I was really like, oh yeah, the artwork looks really cool, and man, Boba Fett's armor looks so slick here. It's like what I wanted from LaRocca's art most of the time. And then we get to the actual 5-issue issues of the event, and it's like, ooh, that's a drop. Like, it's a hard drop. Like, let me show you. Let me find a good one right here with all the characters to see what let you show what I'm talking about right now. Sorry, I'm trying to find like a really good one to show like just the drop off of artwork. If you know Steve McNiven's art and then you go look at other stuff, like it's a drop, and then you look at the artwork following. Here we go. Yeah, it's a little too cartoony, and I know Star Wars at its core is meant for a younger audience, but like the artwork, it's not terrible. That's the thing, is that it's not terrible, but there are like some times where facial expressions are really bad. Like, okay, here's a good example right here, where it's clear Kira's battling Vader, and she's supposed to be shouting like, "I'm not feeble! Nothing about me is feeble!" I'm like, look at that. Some of the facial work, especially when people are yelling, is really bad. Also, Charles Soule still writes a really good Vader. He still writes a good Vader. I have done a review on the Darth Vader War of the Bounty Hunters tie-in volume, and Vader's going to take more of a stance in Crimson Reign because the Empire's going to war with the Crimson Dawn. But yeah, I finally have context. Like I said in the previous review, when I did the review for Darth Vader War of the Bounty Hunters, it was literally like I was without context with most of it. So now I finally have the context for said volume. And also, War of the Bounty Hunters feels more like it should be. The war goes on in the tie-ins, because that's where you get IG-88. That's where you get Dirge. Yeah, Dirge finally comes back into Star Wars canon in the Dr. Aphra series. You have other characters throughout this universe. And yeah, they're all in the tie. Like, but then again, you can make that argument for most tie-in issues, right? Like, you could really make that argument for event comics in general, where the real event takes place in the tie-ins, and you're just kind of getting the ground zero of it, right? Yeah. All in all, it's an okay event, but like I feel like if it wasn't like trying to do like 10 things at once and also be a trilogy of events, I feel like I would have liked this a lot better. It should have just been an event with Boba Fett fighting like a gauntlet of bounty hunters to get to Han. It shouldn't have been this just colossal volume doing 10 things at once. Like, I feel like Crimson Reign should have been its own event. If you wanted to do a trilogy of events, don't make them interconnected, because you're trying to launch so many things, and now the next few volumes of the Star Wars comics are just going to be tie-in after tie-in after tie-in, and that's going to lead to a lot of exhaustion. You see where I'm going with that? Like, it just feels like they were just gonna do this for... Like, it just feels like you might get event exhaustion, even faster than most Marvel events. Anyway, so you guys... so there you go, guys. War of the Bounty Hunters, while good, feels like it does too much and really should have been called War of the Bounty Hunters. But anyway, you guys tell me in the comments below. What did you guys think of this comic? Did you guys like it, hate it? Comment below, let me know. As always, if you haven't already, hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.